Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to go ahead and get this video recorded because it's been on my mind for a couple of days now. I wanted to talk to you all about my experience with guardianship. Now, keep in mind that I am not suggesting that you do or don't apply for guardianship for your child. This is my experience, and I'm just sharing what I have gone through with guardianship. So when Maria turned 18, it was suggested to me, that I go ahead and apply for guardianship because at 18 you're considered a legal adult. And I was under the impression that I would not be able to make any medical decisions for her unless I had guardianship. So I went ahead and I went down to the courthouse and I asked for the process for applying for guardianship. Now, in my particular county, there were two different ways you could do it. Most people use a lawyer, but they told me that I could do it myself. Anytime I'm told I can do something myself, I'm going to do it myself. So I filled out the paperwork, and if you weren't using a lawyer, you had to pay for and attend a guardianship course. That course was, at the time, it was one day. It was one whole Saturday, so I think I got there at 9 a.m. and we were there until about 4 or 5 p.m., so it was the entire day. Maria is 23. So I did this 5 years ago. The process could have changed. So I took that class. I completed the paperwork. They processed the paperwork. I had to have something from her doctor stating that she did need a guardian. So we went through all of that. The whole process to obtain guardianship took about 2 months. And what they did was they give you a paper stating that you are the person's legal guardian, and then if you need copies, you actually have to go to the office and request a printed copy. They do not, after that, send you any copies saying that you are that person's guardian. All right, so that was when Maria was 18. Now, mind you, every time I took her to the doctor, no one asked for those papers. Maria has had surgery since then. She's been in the hospital many, many times. No one has ever asked me for those guardianship papers. Keep in mind, we're in the state of Florida. Last year, when I moved to North Carolina and I was trying to get out-of-home supports, meaning her being in a group home, they did ask for guardianship paperwork. Now, I just happened to have it, but that's the only time I was asked for it. All right. So after I got guardianship, I didn't find out in the class. I don't even remember, honestly, what I was taught in that class. I did not find out then that they expect you to fill out that paperwork every year. So it's not a one-time process. At least here it was not. It was something that had to be renewed every year. The paperwork was thick. It was about at least an inch thick of paperwork that you had to fill out every year. And there was also a fee included with it. I did it the first year, but then after that, I think I skipped the next 2 years. I didn't think anything of it. Like I said, every time I took Maria to the hospital or the doctor's office, they always honored my request. I was never asked to show proof of guardianship. What I did not know is that those 2 years that I skipped the paperwork, the renewal paperwork, it went to the judge. So after that second year that I did not fill out the paperwork, I got a notice in the mail, and ironically enough, Maria was in the hospital when I got this notice. The notice said that I had to appear in court and I don't check my mail very often, so I got the notice the day before I was supposed to be in court. It said if I did not come to court, there could be legal ramifications for not showing up. So I remember being in Maria's hospital room and thinking, am I gonna go? Maybe I should go. I don't know if I'm gonna go. The spirit told me get up and go. So I remember leaving her hospital room early that morning, went home, took a shower, got dressed, and showed up at the court. Little did I know, had I not shown up for that court hearing, they were going to put out a bench warrant for my arrest. Apparently, there are guardians that are not involved in whomever they're supposed to be overseeing. They're not involved in their lives. They're just collecting SSI, and they're using it for whatever they want to use it for. Now, of course, that was not my case, but the court doesn't know you from a can of paint, so they treat everyone the same way. When I went to court, the judge asked me if I had a job. She asked me how many other children I had. Pretty stereotypical questions. I answered her questions. I did not give her any type of, pushback. I did tell her that Maria was actually in the hospital and that I'm a parent that is in my child's life on a daily basis. Once she realized that I was being honest, she took it easier on me. I told her, filling out that paperwork every single year was just too much when you're dealing with the in and outs of being a special needs caregiver, guardian, or parent. So she actually told me that I didn't have to fill out that packet once a year anymore. So from then on out, I just had to submit the doctor's form, and I had to do a yearly background check. So if you have any type of criminal record, at least where I am, you're not able to be anyone's guardian, which is very unfortunate. So every year from then on out, I just had to submit those two documents. So as long as I submitted that doctor's form and did the yearly background check, I was good, and they were not going to issue a warrant for my arrest. Now, last year, before we moved, I went down to the courthouse and I wanted to discontinue the guardianship because we were leaving the state. I thought it was going to be a process maybe similar to the one I went through to obtain guardianship. Well, they directed me to the law library. The law librarian literally handed me a notebook and said, good luck. So I had to sift through those papers and try to find a form that dealt with what I wanted to do, which was discontinue guardianship in the state of Florida. I could not find anything with my non-legal eyes that would help with that process. So what I ended up doing, because any document that you submit for the guardianship, they have to review it by law. So what I did was I went back upstairs to the guardianship office. I sat down. I hand wrote a note stating that we were leaving the state of Florida and that I needed to discontinue the case in Florida. I gave them my forwarding address, my phone number, my email, and I said this needs to serve as written proof or a written statement that I am discontinuing the case. And I did that because of the issues that I had in the past and not wanting them to issue a warrant for my arrest over something that I'm sure could have been done very quickly had I had a lawyer. But since I did it myself, it became a very tedious process. Now, I submitted that letter in June of 2019. We left Florida in July of 2019. I did not hear anything until last month. Someone from that office called me last month and asked me if I had the address to the courthouse in North Carolina so that they could transfer the case. I asked the lady, I said, well, no, I don't have the address in North Carolina. Mind you, I did not tell them that we were back in the state of Florida. But I said, what happens to the case? Do you all just drop it? And she said, no, we need that address for the courthouse in North Carolina. I said, well, I don't have it to give you. And she just kind of nonchalantly said, well, give us a call when you find the address. And I just said, okay. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I don't know what they're going to do. I thought it was odd that they would call me and ask for an address in North Carolina, although as the guardian, I assume it would be my responsibility to make all that happen. But I was not going to look up that address because, of course, we're no longer in North Carolina. As far as the state of Florida, personally, if I had it to do again, I would not have applied for guardianship. It has, for me, been nothing but a headache. And it was something that I didn't need because no one questions me anyway. So it was a very lengthy process. It's a very expensive process. And then it's something that repeats. It is not a one-time thing, or at least for me, it was not. So, you have to do what's best for you in your state and in your circumstances. But as for me and Maria, I would not repeat that process. If I absolutely needed to do it, then I would. But as for here, I don't plan on getting in touch with them again. They'll just have to reach out to me, and then hopefully at the very most, I'll go back to having to submit that doctor's form and my background check. So just wanted to let you all know that. Hope everybody's staying well. Hope you are taking very good care of yourself and giving yourself extra grace and extra kindness. Stay well, and I will be back soon.